This September marks the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, proposed by the People's Republic of China, aiming to promote connectivity, stimulate sustainable economic growth, and improve regional cooperation on a transcontinental scale. The initiative defines 5 major priorities: policy coordination, infrastructure connectivity, unimpeded trade, financial integration, and connecting people. BRI is offering a new alternative to multilateral cooperation. By the end of 2022, BRI covered 75% of the world's population and 40% of the world's GDP, with 32 international organizations and 150 countries. Nearly $1 trillion have been invested in the BRI countries in infrastructure, with the emphasis placed on supporting long-term sustainability and the renewable energy sectors. On its anniversary, it is worth reviewing the prospects of this cooperation platform for the next decade. BRI 10, Seminar on High-Quality Co-Construction of the Belt and Road, Prospects for the Next Decade.
Tisztelt Matolcsy György elnök úr, ő excellenciája Gong nagykövet úr, hölgyeim és uraim, tisztelt vendégek!尊敬的公讨大使，尊敬的Matolcsy György 汉长先生、女士们、先生们! Nagy örömömre szolgál, hogy ma itt üdvözölhetem Önöket, a Magyar Nemzeti Bank és a Kínai Népköztársaság budapesti nagykövetségének közös, az övezet és útkezdeményezés 10. évfordulója, és emellett a magyar-kínai kapcsolatok 74. évfordulója alkalmából szervezett konferencián. 很荣幸欢迎大家各位领导、各位嘉宾在匈牙利国家银行以及中华人民共和国驻匈牙利大使馆共同举办的“一带一路”10周年的以及中匈两国建交74周年的论坛。 Nagy megtiszteltetés, hogy a mai rendezvény házigazdája én lehetek. Én Horváth Levente vagyok, a Neumann János Egyetem Eurázsia Központ igazgatója. A mai konferencia az évforduló alkalmából 3 különböző aspektusból fogja áttekinteni ennek az együttműködési platformnak a következő évtizedre vonatkozó kilátásait.
Outlooks for the next decade of this cooperation platform. One is financial integration, the other one is green development, and last but not least, human relations.
今天我能当次论坛的主持人，我是乐文特欧亚中心的主任。今天的论坛从三个主要的角度来谈“一带一路”的过去10周年的以及未来的一些机会。第一个是货币流通，第二个是绿色发展。 然后第3个是民心相通。
Today's program is going to start with a high-level opening, where I would like to respectfully ask György Matolcsy, Governor of the National Bank of Hungary, to share his ideas with us.
开幕式即将要开始了。首先，我邀请 Matolcsy György 先生，匈牙利国家银行行长上台演讲，欢迎。
Köszönöm szépen, milyen tisztelt...
Thank you very much, distinguished Your Excellency, Ambassador Gong. Heartfelt welcome to our guests, the Deputy Governors, Vice Governors, Director General of the Central Bank of Hungary. Anniversaries are always good opportunities to review, you know, whether it's 100 years or 74 years or 10 years, events in this case, and we Hungarians, we would also add another event, because in 2010 the freshly elected Prime Minister of Viktor Orbán visited Beijing, and the Eastern opening started in Hungary, which very well joined this initiative as a small stream to a great river. Xi Jinping, President, launched the BRI in 2010, and this joined in very well. Ever since we see that President Xi Jinping has launched a number of global initiatives in addition. The first one probably was the BRI, and also an economic infrastructure development. He aims to provide an infrastructure foundation, an infrastructure to the later global initiative, which is going to cover the entire human population, the entire civilization, the entire fate of the humanity, to have a peaceful and safe and secure human relations. Now, this was the beginning in 2013. 10 years have gone by, successful 10 years. If a Hungarian looks at China, then what we see is that China is a very wise country, 3,000 years of statelyhood and 5,000 years of civilization and wisdom, and 100 years plans that they are working with. Between 1921 and 2021, the first 100 years recovered the wounds of the earlier centuries, and not only do they have a functioning state, which was the objective of the 100 years plan, but also a fantastic success and a civilization leap forward in the history of mankind. If we look at the history, then China, the People's Republic of China, since 1949 has speeded up, and also since 1979, 1980, has just lifted 800 million people from poverty or under the poverty line, and a 400 million strong middle class has been built. Now, these measures are historic. I mean, no other nations in history could perform that, so we have to learn from China. China looks on itself as a developing country, therefore it learns from the world. Distinguished Ambassador, Your Excellency, dear friends, in the last 10 years in the BRI, that was a straightforward success, a clear success. We don't know whether this is going to be for 100 years, we don't know, but the first 10 years, very good. That provided infrastructure and also provided the opportunity for a lot of countries to build their first roads, their first rail lines, their first ports and harbors towards other countries. We Hungarians know that wherever there is no road leading, and wherever there is no road coming out, there is poverty. Infrastructure is the foundation of everything. But the last 10 years is about much more things, because these 10 years were about infrastructure development and also the economic and financial ties built up. We Hungarians have developed very strong ties, like, for example, the PBOC, the Chinese Central Bank and the Hungarian Central Bank, very good ties. And on the European continent, we were the first to create a well-functioning and fruitful swap line financial relationship in 2013, which we renewed year by year. And I have to say that on the continent, we have one of the best functioning bridges between PLC and one of the EU central banks. We Hungarians are very proud of the fact that since 2015, with the renminbi initiative, we indicated to the world, and we also suggested the world, to join in the process that renminbi would be a world currency. That's an opportunity, because the monopolar world order is slowly over. A multipolar world order is what we are approaching, which obviously has more global currencies. The multipolarity of politics is also encouraging the multipolarity of the currency system, and renminbi has already proven that it is such a currency, and it offers the role to be played as a global currency. We Hungarians, with the Central Bank of Hungary, are very proud that probably as first in the European Union, and maybe only of the European Union, we take the Eastern and Eurasic opening seriously. Each and every November we have Eurasia conference where we have guests honoring us from China and from other Asian countries and from other Asian centers of economy. A lot of professors, a lot of academicians, a lot of professors and a lot of businessmen. We believe in dialogue. We believe in mutual respect, as China also respects Hungary and Hungary respects China, and this is based on mutual respect, a friendship based on mutual respect. And this actually is an infrastructure as well, an intellectual, spiritual and emotional infrastructure which probably will serve the next 100 years well as well. Education cooperation is very important for us with the Fudan University, which is one of the best universities of China and the world. We have built very close educational ties. We also participate in the the advisory board of the Fudan University, and it is a major honor that we could be members of this council. And we also participate at the Shanghai Forum, where there are seminars, where there are presentations. A lot of Hungarian speakers can perform, and we also have a number of fora together with the Fudan University. Your Excellency, dear friends, 10 years, a short time, but I think for everyone, well, there were many people with different voices. There were some who were confident, like we Hungarians, we really trusted in it, and there were some who were not so trustful. There were those rooting against, but everyone now had the opportunity to be persuaded that Asia and Europe, and also China and Europe, and for us Hungarians, this is nothing new, so that it is worth to cooperate closely. World is going towards cooperation, and we consider ourselves a medium-strong country, so whatever we can and whatever we can do, we'll do, in order to prevent a world again divided by wars and divided by ideologies. No, we want a world order where there is cooperation and security, and the Southern Alliance, like the BRICS, the extended BRICS alliance, can help us to do a lot of things in this respect. Distinguished Mr. Ambassador, Your Excellency, I think that the first 10 years, that's a good foundation, and I think that the Hungarian opening to the west, to the east in 2010 is a good foundation. The fact that Hungary was in 1949 one of the first countries to recognize the People's Republic of China, and I think that the next steps together we are going to follow what President Xi Jinping said, the global initiatives which actually are going to be built on the achievement of the BRI by Xi Jinping. Heartfelt welcome to everyone here in Hungary, heartfelt welcome to the participants of this seminar, and we do our best in order to ensure the cooperation with Eurasia. Thank you very much.
Köszönöm Matolcsy György elnök úrnak.
Governor György Matolcsy, thank you very much for this encouraging speech, which actually provides very good foundations for the panel discussions.
Most pedig szeretném megkérni.
And now, I would like to ask His Excellency, Ambassador Kuntao, the Plenipotentiary and Extraordinary Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Budapest, to come up stage and deliver his speech.
大使阁下上台演讲，欢迎。
尊敬的匈牙利国家银行行长马托尔齐阁下，
Governor Matolcsy, your esteemed Governor Matolcsy, esteemed Mr. Csizmadia, President of the Palestine Foundation, dear Vice Governors, ladies and gentlemen, dear Hungarian friends, may I wish all of you a very pleasant morning. I'm really very delighted that I can be here in Hungary at this beautiful autumn day, and I'm also glad that I can meet you here in Budapest. I've been in Hungary for 2 weeks right now, and within that time I visited the Budapest-Belgrade train investment, and also the Hungarian-Chinese investments, the financial organizations and financial authorities. And I also invited the Hungarian athletes who are going to participate in the Cselembi University next month. Therefore, I had the opportunity to experience the beauty of Budapest, the capital of Hungary, and I also had the opportunity to understand the fantastic life power of the Chinese-Hungarian friendship and the very deep friendship of our people. We are now celebrating the 10th anniversary of the BRI with the Hungarian National Bank of Hungary and the Embassy of China. They have this seminar together, and we are going to talk about the joint activities. We are going to review our relationship, and also we are going to look into the potential of development. May I welcome the guests participating at the forum, and I would like to thank on behalf of the Embassy, the National Bank of Hungary, the Central Bank of Hungary, for their efforts in organizing this forum. For 2013, it was President Xi Jinping who initiated the BRI, the 21st century Silk Road, bringing this into life again and to existence. And in the last 10 years, the joint foundation and the joint construction of BRI, from the foundations and the pillars up until the sustainable development, we got into this situation. There is a precise fine-tuning right now, which we are going towards, and the BRI is very much in line with the historic trends of globalization, and also very much in line with the requirements of our age. This has become an international platform which goes beyond geographical borders and would also break through cultural differences, and also the development goals. The BRI is about openness and is about adaptiveness, and also provides a connection between and among the countries along the road, and also connects the different strategies and the different policies to have a joint development. This is not a small circle of close confrontation. This is about open cooperation. China has always been on the stance of extended cooperation and collaboration and the mutual benefits thereof. Now, there are already 152 countries and 32 international organizations that we have contracted and have treaties with. So this is an extending circle, the ones we work together with, and also our enthusiasm is increasing. BRI is about mutual results and the mutual benefits. The world is in the age of turmoil. The foundations of economic growth are shattered, and the growth is slow. There are some crises here. How can we achieve, therefore, sustainable development? Now, the only proper road forward would be mutual benefits. All parties reflect differently and respond differently to the challenges of global economy. We are looking for driving forces. In the last 10 years, we managed to have fruitful roads like the Celje, the bridge, Montenegro, the Croatia and Montenegro bridge, and motorway. This also supports regional development. The COSCO shipping company with the port, the harbor of Piros in Greece, this is what China has purchased, and also the steel company of Serzo in Serbia, which again is used to contribute to global growth. And we have over $340 billion of trade, which is more than 7.31 million containers. So in 217 cities of 25 European countries, these goods are shipped. Now the BRI, it goes towards green development. This is the original plan. So all countries participating in this initiative all agree in the importance of greenification. Therefore, the BRI also China has produced the documents of green development and green implementation, actively responding to climate change to ensure global sustainability. China, in this respect, is very active, supporting the countries along the BRI in order to have green and low carbon emission developments. Ecology, environment and climate, this is something we're focusing upon. We have more and more infrastructure projects, and we do help them to have a diversified energy structure. In addition to that, ecological projects are also ones that we participate, and we also create international alliances in order to help green development, and we also prevent these types of we also strengthen these types of cooperations along the BRI. The Chinese government has always requested Chinese companies to be up to the ecological rules and regulations, also in receiving countries if they deal with other countries and they function in other countries. The BRI is also about the mutual learning among civilizations, because the ancient Silk Road was not only a trade road but also a link in civilizations and cultures, helping cultural and economic prosperity, and also extending the dialogue between civilizations and a peaceful cooperation, collaboration, openness and acceptance. So therefore there is a communication link again between different cultures and different regions. This is about harmonic coexistence between different cultures and civilizations. The One Road, the BRI has proven that we can respect the diversity of civilizations and cultures. China and Hungary are firm partners in this respect. Hungary has been the first EU country to sign the BRI agreement with China. Prime Minister Orbán visited China several times and participated in the international summits and the cooperation summits. Therefore, this is very much in line with the Eastern opening strategy of Hungary. This is a strategy which is very vital. The Budapest-Belgrade rail construction goes on continuously, and Budapest, Hungary, is becoming and strengthening its role as a regional hub. Chinese European trains, in this respect, Hungary can be again a hub, a logistics hub, and a logistics and trade corridor can be built. There are 5 Confucius institutions, Hungarian and international schools. In China, there are Hungarian faculties and Chinese faculties in Hungary. We also have cultural centers mutually in each other's country. We can therefore say that BRI has given a major impetus to the cooperation between our two countries and plays a positive role in deepening the cooperation between China and Central European countries. For the future, China and Hungary is faced with new opportunities by building the BRI together, because China's economy has recovered very rapidly after the pandemic. 5.5% was the GDP growth year on year. According to IMF forecasts, the Chinese economy is going to grow by 5.2% because the Chinese economy is very flexible and there is huge potential in there. And the long-term positive foundations have not changed. China, therefore, has the potential and the opportunity to foster sustainable development. As Prime Minister Orbán said in his recent speech, this is a civilized country looking back to 5,000 years of civilization, 3,000 years of statelhood. And next month we will have in Beijing the BRI forum. There's going to be an opening ceremony, 3 high-level forums for connection, green development, digital economy, and also a special forum for unimpeded trade and relations between people and think tanks, and also the Silk Road. China and Hungary at this 3rd summit will have the opportunity to revisit and replan the initiatives and the roadmap for the initiative. Political communication and coordination is going to be increased and strengthened. We are relying on the China-Hungary Intergovernmental BRI Committee or the China-Hungarian Trade Committee, Investment Work Group and the Silk Road Work Group. We would like to actively see the new ways of cooperation, like, for example, new energetics and the new mobility projects. These actually are mutually beneficial for both parties in the automotive industry of the Chinese supply chain. In addition to that, intercultural and interpersonal exchanges are increasing. We are extending our cooperation in education, culture, science, tourism. As President Xi Jinping mentioned, the Chinese students of the Chinese-Hungarian school, they would like to have this notion put in practice so that there would be more and more exchange of ideas, and the Chinese-Hungarian friendship as a cause would be held as an objective. So we need interpersonal cooperation, we need popular cooperation, so cooperation between people. I would like to thank Governor Matolcsy for his very successful work in the BRI, and also his contribution to the BRI, including the organization of this event today. I am very positive that everyone is going to use the opportunities and going to benefit from these talks, because we can have communication, we can have active suggestions. Therefore, I would also like to recognize Mr. Matolcsy's efforts in the financial domain, aiming at promoting the cooperation between our two countries. As a freshly appointed ambassador, I'm committed to strengthen these ties, and of course I would like to be in touch with the organizations here, first and foremost with the National Bank of Hungary. I would also like to deepen the existing friendship between our two people based on mutual trust, and I would like to strengthen these foundations further in order to promote the Chinese-Hungarian economic development, and I hope that in the next 10 years of BRI we will have even more results coming up. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Köszönjük nagykövet úrnak ezeket a remek gondolatokat.
Your Excellency Ambassador, thank you very much for these excellent ideas. Now, after the thoughts of the high-level opening, we'll have now a 15 minutes coffee break, and then we are going to carry on the discussion in English with the presentation of Norbert Csizmadia and then the panel discussion. So please be back in the room at 10:15 and you can see books outside concerning BRI and the Chinese-Hungarian relations. Thank you very much.
英文来继续我们的论坛。第一个演讲者Csizmadia Norbert 是我们匈牙利国家银行基金会的主席，所以请大家10点15分回到我们大堂，然后继续论坛。谢谢。
just succeeded to submit a very good and a very accurate design that was approved and also implemented.
We have in total currently over 13,000 megawatt hour power project.
It has provided Sri Lanka with much needed hope.
And build this road M5 for us in our record time. And further more, it is of the world quality level.
It has helped connect, bring Pakistan one step closer to being connected from one end to the other.
I have found them to be very professional and also sensitive to the local traditions and the local customs of the country.
They can share their technology, expertise, knowledge, and they can train us.
ขอบใจสป.จีนที่ได้เปิดโครงการหนึ่งแล้วหนึ่งเส้นทางที่ได้นำเอาโอกาสอันดีมาสู่ประชาชนลาว
I am involved in one of the major expressway construction project which connects capital of Sri Lanka and center of Sri Lanka, which is called Central Expressway Project. This project connects major and most important two cities of Sri Lanka, which provides safe and comfort traveling and good transport between two cities with minimum travel time and minimum operating cost.
So overall, if I look mainly on the energy and the power sector, the CPEC contribution are tremendous. In terms of BRI initiative, of course, this is much bigger than the CPEC initiative of energy and infrastructure in Pakistan. So it has obviously the global impact, and over 60 countries are involved in that. But CPEC has remained the flagship project under which most of the success has been achieved.
The Pakistan has this corridor from Karachi, Multan, Lahore, Pindi, and further to China has given us the economic boom. And further it will enhance our economic activities in our region. We thank Chinese government and the Chinese people who came to Pakistan from China and built this road for us in a record time. They gave us the new ways and means how to build the road in a record time and in a short time with world level qualities.
We expect to do much more in the future when the project achieves commercial operations. From a provincial point of view, the government of KPK benefited from the enhanced tax revenue during the construction activity, and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Revenue Authority very graciously awarded us as one of the highest taxpayers in the province in the year 2022. Once the project is completed and starts supplying electricity, it's expected to generate more than 884 megawatts of clean energy, which will benefit the environment and add to the much needed energy requirements of the country, which in my opinion is a great public service.
This project gives us new avenue by cooperating all the security elements, giving the security to our Chinese friend working on this project. This project initiated new economic activity in this area, which helped the local in increasing their income. This project also helped in developing the backward area of Pakistan. In future, I hope China and Pakistan will have more cooperation in different sectors, such as infrastructure, construction, power, and agriculture.
ข้าพเจ้าหวังให้จีนเพิ่มทวีการลงทุนในการก่อสร้างหนึ่งแล้วหนึ่งเส้นทางเช่นการลงทุนด้านคมนาคมกสิกรรมการศึกษาอุตสาหกรรมและโครงการอื่นๆเสริมจากนั้นเราจะพัฒนาอันนี้ชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ของประชาชนให้ดีขึ้นโดยมีการเข้าร่วมของจีน
There's a saying called a road is a life, and that has truly been the embodiment when it comes to this Multan sector motorway. It has had numerous benefits. Not only has it helped develop the less developed part of southern Sindh, but it has also helped reduce the time of travel for agricultural farmers from 11 hours down to 5 to 6 hours by over more than 100 kilometers. So it's been very beneficial. Other than that, it's also employed 36,000 people, a peak of 36,000 people at its most active period, which is, as you can tell, it's a lot of jobs.
Other than that, it has been beneficial in bringing the country together by bringing it one step closer to being connected from one end to the other.
โครงการดังกล่าวได้ปรับปรุงชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ของประชาชนในแต่ละท้องถิ่นสร้างโอกาสการจ้างงานให้ประชาชนลาวหลายขึ้นยกระดับชีวิตการเป็นอยู่และการศึกษาของประชาชนนำเอาผลิตภัณฑ์การเกษตรของท้องถิ่นให้สามารถส่งออกสู่ตลาดการค้าสากลที่ใหญ่กว่าโดยผ่านเส้นทางใหม่และทางรถไฟใหม่นอกนั้นยังได้เพิ่มทวีความสำคัญในการแลกเปลี่ยนด้านเศรษฐกิจและการค้าระหว่างประเทศลาวประเทศอ้อมข้างและบรรดาประเทศเรียบ3 1แล้ว1เส้นทางและสุกยู่การพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจของภาคพื้นได้อย่างว่องไว
จากเฮือนไม้ที่สุกโทรมในอดีตได้ถูกย้ายไปอยู่บ่อนไม้ซึ่งได้ปรับปรุงชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ให้ดีขึ้นสุขาภิบาลในการศึกษาของพวกเราได้รับการปรับปรุงเส้นทางเข้าออกบ้านได้ถูกสร้างขึ้นใหม่ผลิตภัณฑ์เกษตรยังสามารถขนส่งเข้าออกเมืองเพื่อซื้อขายผ่านถนนสายนี้ซึ่งได้เพิ่มรายรับด้านเศรษฐกิจของพวกเรา
สบายดีน้องฟื้นน้องนุรักจิตสมบัติปัจจุบันนี้น้องเรียนอยู่ปฐมบ้านบวมอ้อที่ได้รับการช่วยเหลือจากรัฐบาลจีนเมื่อก่อนเฮือนของน้องเก่าหลายบ่มีโทรภาพโรงเรียนโรงเรียนก็บ่เพียงพอและน้องก็ได้ขี่เรือข้ามไปอีกฝากหนึ่งของแม่น้ำเพื่อไปโรงเรียนปัจจุบันน้องได้ย้ายมาเฮือนหลังใหม่ที่บริษัทโนริงโกอินเตอร์เนชั่นแนลก่อสร้างน้องสามารถเบิ่งโทรภาพอยู่เฮือนหลังใหม่และสามารถเรียนอยู่ในโรงเรียนหลังใหม่แทนที่จะขี่เรือข้ามแม่น้ำไปโรงเรียนทุกๆมื้อ
So in my opinion, this is a very good and unprecedented enterprise by the government of China. In 2013, when President Xi Jinping expressed his vision of a community of shared destiny, this was something unheard of before. And this was the first time that all the countries being part of this initiative were to share in the successes that this was to bring.
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy birthday to One Belt, One Road Initiative.
Happy 10th birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy birthday
Happy birthday
Happy birthday Happy birthday
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy 10th birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy anniversary to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy anniversary to Belt and Road, and wish you all the best for the future.
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Dear audience, welcome back at the BRI 10 seminar on the high-quality co-construction of the Belt and Road prospects for the next decade event. After the remarkable opening ceremony, now we are beginning the panel discussion with the participation of well-known experts who I'm sure will share thought-provoking opinions regarding the BRI. First of all, please allow me to invite today's keynote speaker, Mr. Csizmadia Norbert, the President of the Board of the Trustees at Pallas Athene Domus Meriti Foundation and John von Neumann University Foundation to share his thoughts about the Eurasia era and the BRI. Welcome on the board.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here of the Belt and Road Initiative, the prospect to the future and prospect to the next decade. So for the next 10 minutes, I would like to focus is why is the Belt and Road Initiative is important. I want to speak about the geo-future, the synthesis of geography and the geopolitics, about the three main passwords: Eurasian, connectivity, complexity, and sustainability. Of course, as a geographer, for me, the geography is a destiny. If you see the political world map, we can find about the three main oceans, 5 continents, almost 200 countries, 6 different colors to deliver to the countries each other. And our political world map is very Eurocentric. But we are living of the geopolitical world order. We always need for the new perspective. If you need for geopolitical world map or political world map by the Asian perspective, you can find of the different view. And even if you are focused by the Chinese perspective, we can find of the different world map. It's different. The American continent is not anymore of the east part or west part of Europe. It's going up to the north because it's very simple geographical things. If you travel from Shanghai to New York, you're going for a shortest way across to the North Pole. And if you want to understand our geopolitical and geographical challenge, we need for 3 main passwords. And this is the 3 main passwords are complexity, connectivity, and sustainability of the age of Eurasia. We are living of the complex world, and if the focusing by the future megatrends, for example, it's very special maps, 12 different lines about the work, money, transport, the future of technology, the travel, the society, economy, media, energy, education, health, and values, we can find of very special maps. And we can find of the main hub points for the main connecting points about the globalization or localization, regionalization, about the complexity, sustainability, and even the complexity is together. We are living of the complex world. This very special map, the future of the data is the database professional publication. More than 88,000 professional citation is defined. This chart you can find about the Nature magazine. So more than 100 years, around 88,000 publication, how is the connects together? Because we are living of the age of networks and age of fusion. If you are looking for a very education map, the collaboration between university and the professional scientists publishing papers between 2005 and 2010, we can find this very interesting map. More focusing United States, Europe, and in the Asia part in Japan. And what's happened if you see the same map is 5 years later, 2010 and 2015. We can see this find is how is Asia is getting rising, is how is the eastern part of Asia getting more and more important to the future. It's the same if you are focusing about the airplane connection. 3,200 airports, more than 33,000 destination connection. We can find how is the connectivity is getting more and more important, and the rise of Asia and the rise of Eurasia, it will be important to the future. We are living of the multipolar world order. It's a multipolar world order that's about the connecting system. But if you are focusing the GDP growth between 2000 and 2010, we can find how is Asia, the rise of the Asia is getting more and more important in the future. And just for example, of the global growth before the COVID period, in the year 2019, the global prosperity, the global growth, almost 64% to give the Asia and the China is together. 33,000 to give for the China, and Asia give for the 30%. And of course, if you are seeing of a future GDP map, we can find about China is getting the largest economic country in the world. In the 2016, if you see for the GDP by the PPP, we can find about the new world order, the economics shifting to the east for the economy, multipolarism is more and more things. Of course, the post-COVID era is made for the new megatrends about digitalization, money revolution, the green economy, the platform economy, the regionalization, the multipolar world order, the rules of the technological company, the two horse or decade, the digitalization, robotization, automatization, and the artificial intelligence getting more important for the future. Of course, the 2013, when the Belt and Road is starting, the new technological age is starting this parallel. And the new megatrends like one home, lot of function, the safety and balance, healthy lifestyle, the future of the world will change for the megatrends. Connectivity is one of the main keywords in the new decades. We have 500,000 kilometer border, 1 million kilometer pipeline, 2 million kilometer train line, and 64 million kilometer highway is getting connection between east and the west. And the take for the airplane connection and the take with the urban hubs, the global city, we can find this very special map, what is called geofusion. The geofusion, what is the network of the geopolitics and network. And of course, the most important investment, our largest program in the 21st century, where it started 10 years ago, President Xi Jinping, 2013, in Kazakhstan Nazarbayev University, and used of the Belt and Road Initiative, is taking for the connectivity between east part of the Asia and the western part of the Europe. What is the Belt and Road? Why is it important for us? The Belt and Road about summarize 6 points. One concept and one initiative. 2 wings, the land and sea routes. 4 keywords, connectivity, strategy, synergy, capacity building, cooperation. In the 5 directions, that also the 5 main goals of the connectivity. Connecting politics, infrastructure, trade, finance, interpersonal relationship, and realize across to the 6 economic corridors. Of course, the 7 roads. The road of peace, road of prosperity, opening up, innovation, the green development, connecting civilization, and the clean government. And we are very glad that Hungary was the first European country was joining of the Belt and Road Initiative. If we speak about 10 years later about the result, more than 152 countries joined of the Belt and Road. 200 more cooperation, 32 international organizations, more than 500,000 job creation, about the Asia infrastructure, then more than 35 billion US dollar, and improving more than 181 projects. Silk Road Fund, more than $20 billion, the digital Silk Road join of the 16 countries. The Belt and Road, but it's not just only of the infrastructure development, but it's commerce, digital, green, healthy, intellectual, knowledge, and education roads. 5 new brain train lines, 60 countries, more than 108 cities, more than 126 countries, and 1,300 new airplane connection, 12 free trade zones, and 17 countries was opened the Chinese Cultural Center, and more than 54 countries, 100 Confucius Institute. 20 European countries, 211 cities is joined with the Chinese city together, and about 100 countries, 300 ports. And if you speak about the relation, the bilateral relation between China and Hungary is a very strong cooperation. It's at least 5 areas: economy and infrastructure, sustainable development, promoting fair competition, enhancing investment protection, fostering innovation and collaboration, and the strong bilateral relation, the cooperation between infrastructure, energy translation, climate governance, technological innovation, tourism, education, financial cooperation, and CATL, the China biggest electric vehicle battery maker, invest in Hungary. The Huawei, about the 5G telecommunication. The CMC, China National Machinery's import and export cooperation. The solar park by the CNG, the Lenovo of the first European manufacturing facility, the BID about the bus factory, and of course, the financial and banking sector. The banks of China, the first is open the regional center of the Hungary and the Renminbi clearing center in very strong regional points. The China Construction Bank opened to the branch in Hungary. The Chinese Construction Bank opened the branch in Hungary. The Chinese Development Bank representative office of the ACBC, the show of the interest of the Hungarian financial market. Yes, it's a Belt and Road, prosperity for the next decade and prosperity of the future. We believe we are living of the age of Anthropocene. It's important for us, the long-term sustainability, because we believe that our future is important for the vision. And this is occasion, or institute, the Belt and Road initiative, the connecting with the Budapest Center for Long-Term Sustainability, focus for the new global debate, the long-term sustainability, comprehensive and life-centered world order, the 95 theses for the long-term sustainability, because we believe in the common future have to build together, and this is our geo-future story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chismadier. It was really a very interesting and very nice thoughts about the Belt and Road and the Hungarian-Chinese relations also. And as we had these discussions and the speeches, now and we have heard that the BRI not only about the economic and other cooperations, financial cooperation, but also cultural cooperation. And as we are on the verge of the Mid-Autumn Festival, which this year falls on the 29th of September, let us have a closer understanding about the Chinese, Chinese cultures through a short video. So now we will see a short video about this Mid-Autumn Festival.
The 15th day of the 8th lunar month is a Mid-Autumn Festival, a celebration that focuses on the moon. Enjoying the beauty of the full moon on this day has been a long-standing traditional Chinese custom for centuries. The Western Lake, 3 pools mirroring the moon in Hangzhou, East China's Zhejiang province, is a great spot to appreciate the full moon. There are 3 hollow stone towers in the center of the Western Lake. On the night of Mid-Autumn Festival, the lights in the tower reflects 15 moons across the surface of the water around the towers. The true moon and its reflected counterparts are difficult to distinguish, giving rise to the name 3 pools mirroring the moon. The Chinese loved the moon of the Mid-Autumn Festival so much, and even printed the picture of the 3 pools mirroring the moon on the back of 1 yuan note. According to the legend, in ancient times, there were 10 suns in the sky simultaneously, and the strong exposure and extremely hot temperature made people's lives a misery. A hero named Hou Yi came along, shot down 9 suns, and saved the world. To reward his bravery, the Queen Mother gave him an elixir as a reward, Chang'e, Hou Yi's wife, drank the elixir by accident and became immortal. Since immortals cannot remain in a mortal realm, she had to leave the earth, ascended to the moon, and could only watch the human world from afar. China's Chang'e Moon Exploration Project is named after this story. On January 3, 2019, Chang'e's detector number 4 successfully landed on the moon, returning the world's first close-range image of the dark side of the moon. Aside from Spring Festival, the Mid-Autumn Festival is the most important festival symbolizing reunion. The roundness of the full moon expresses people's desire for a wholesome, happy family. Eating mooncakes is an important custom during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Due to the different diet habits in different regions, mooncakes vary in taste. Traditional flavors include fillings of 5-kernel, egg yolk, jujube paste, and bean paste. Now, there are new flavors like ice cream and durian. Although the taste of mooncake is changing, the symbolic meaning of the full moon remains unchanged. And the Chinese custom of eating mooncake and longing for reunion during the Mid-Autumn Festival will never fade away. After a short get-together during the Mid-Autumn Festival, the Double Ninth Festival, a festival of renewal, growth, and cherishing the past, is just around the corner, led by the old and the wise.
So I wish all of you a happy Mid-Autumn Festival, and don't forget to look at the moon 2 days later. After this enlightening video, let us start with the first panel today titled Building a Win-Win Bridge by Facilitating Financial Integration. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to greet on the stage Mr. Nagy Tamás, Director responsible for Financial System Analysis at the Magyar Nemzeti Bank, as the moderator of the discussion. In his current position, he is responsible for shaping the MNB's macroprudential policy as well as for the applied research and stress test area. They will be developing financial stability analysis methods. So welcome on the stage. And also I would like to invite the participants of the panel discussion. First, I would like to call Mr. Jing Xitong on the stage, International Business Specialist of the China Development Bank, Budapest Representative Office. Mr. Jing joined the CDB in 2017 and has extensive working experience in Eastern Europe and CE region. He has led the CDB's project management in several European countries and has been engaged in sovereign projects at the cooperation with financial institutions for several years. Also welcome Ms. Wang Yangyun, General Manager of the China Construction Bank. Welcome on the stage. Ms. Wang serves in her current position since 2021 and has vast experience in management as well as in trade, finance, and corporate banking. As a senior economist, she was member of the CCB Toronto branch preparation team and the branch itself after its opening. So welcome on the stage. Last but not least, I would like to invite Ms. Zhao Lei, Assistant CEO of the Bank of China, CE Ltd. Welcome on the stage. Ms. Zhao joined Bank of China Limited in 2001, and since she had gathered corporate banking and management experience from China and New York as well, she also worked in investment relation, credit export, and structured financing, so she has quite a comprehensive knowledge. We hope Ms. Zhao could share a slice with us today. So welcome all of you on the stage. And Mr. Nagy, I give the floor to you and the participants for the discussion. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm also thanking my panelists in joining us today. It is really a a pleasure, it's my privilege to address and moderate this excellent panel. As it was mentioned, it will be about building a hopefully win-win bridge by facilitating financial integration. Before starting our panel, I would also recall a bit the way we got here. It was also mentioned by Mr. Matolcsy in his opening speech that it was 2010, actually. The Hungarian government announced the new initiative, the Opening to East, as we all know. And in addition to traditional long-standing relations with our European trading partners, our economy policy has also turned its attention to Asia. In 2013, the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, announced, as it was already said several times, the Belt and Road Initiative. Soon after that, 2 years after that, actually in 2015, Hungary became the first European country to sign a Memorandum of Understanding to promote the initiative. And the initiative is to create synergies with its Opening to East policy. In line with Hungarian government strategy, also the Magyar Nemzeti Bank, the Central Bank of Hungary, developed an excellent partnership with the People's Bank of China, the PBOC. Both central banks are putting great emphasis on digitalization, financial innovations, and of course, environmental sustainability. Therefore, we have been working closely together for the same purposes. I also must mention the active cooperation ensuring financial stability, which is also my field. For example, via swap agreements. Our central bank has been among the first ones in Europe to conclude a swap agreement, as it was already said by Mr. Matolcsy. The agreement was signed with the PBOC in September 2013. The aim of the agreement is to support trade, investment relations between the two countries, and the swap agreement, fortunately, has been renewed several times now. Recognizing a significant and growing international role of the renminbi, as it was said, the MNB announced its central bank renminbi program in 2015. The same year, MNB's Monetary Council decided to invest in Chinese bond market to reflect the developments and internationalization of the Chinese currency. Regarding capital markets, there are also history. Hungary was the first country to issue both dim sum and panda bonds. These issues served to broaden the investor base and open up new markets. In line with Hungary's strong ESG commitment, a successful green panda bond issuance was made in Chinese market in 2021, making Hungary the first sovereign to issue green panda bonds. And as our panel will be about banking, I'm turning to Hungarian-Chinese banking relations, which already date back 2 decades, when the Bank of China first stepped into the Hungarian market with establishing its subsidiary. Today, it has a local chartered bank, but also a branch in Hungary. The branch of Chinese Construction Bank, as it was said, was officially inaugurated in Budapest last year. Nowadays, 2 of the 4 major and globally leading Chinese commercial banks are already present in Hungary. And next, China Development Bank has recently established its representative office in Budapest. The presence of Chinese banks in Hungary and the financial innovations arriving from China are an important factor for Budapest, but in the region, also for Warsaw, has become a financial hub in the CE region. Owing to growing financial and trade relations in Hungary's favorable geographical location, trade, investment between our two countries have been expanding dynamically for years now. China is now Hungary's largest trading partner outside of the European Union. Many Chinese companies have made Hungary their European hub and are managing their growing European operations from here. So thank you for that. In terms of FDI, Hungary has gradually become the leading destination of Chinese investment in the CE region, with Chinese investments in Hungary exceeding already $6 billion. The Belt and Road Initiative hopefully can help to connect the world physically, and it was said physically, in the recent years to come. Recognizing that finance, technology, and innovation are the key factors in driving economic growth, We are keen to further strengthen cooperation through the Belt and Road Initiative, particularly in the areas of finance, infrastructure, and sustainable economic development. I hope that all Hungarian banks, including the Chinese banks in Hungary, will take a leading role in financing the steps needed to achieve higher economic growth and greener economy. This is a necessity, especially in the challenging times we are living today. So thanks for your participation again. And now I'm about to turn to our panelists with a lot of questions, and hopefully can we go through all of this, because there will be questions about the experience in doing business in Hungary, of course about their future strategy, and we are really keen on hearing how they see the MNB's role in bilateral relations. So, starting with our first question, today Chinese banks have the largest asset base among leading banks globally. So as we know, the top 5 banks, out of the top 5 banks, 4 are coming from China, which is quite impressive. And Chinese banks are expanding around the world, including Hungary and the region. The first Chinese bank, the BOC, opened its unit 20 years ago. Therefore, the first question will come to you. So my first question is, what motivated you and the Chinese bank later on in entering the financial market? How do you see the opportunities of further Chinese banks in the region and in Hungary? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Thank you for having us, and thank you for the question. So I think Hungary occupies a crucial position that connects both the European market and also the Belt and Road Initiative. So in Bank of China's development of overseas businesses, our strategies are bifold. So first is to facilitate the bilateral trade and investment, and also follow the steps of the Chinese going global enterprises. And secondly, we also are dedicated to support the overseas or the host countries' local enterprises, especially those who are financially robust and also play a pivotal role in supporting their regional and also the national economic development. So Bank of China is very honored to be the first Chinese bank to enter into the Hungarian market officially back in 20 years ago. So this year is our 20 years anniversary. So back in 20 years ago, I believe our group management and also in setting the group strategies have been seeing these business opportunities and also the potentials in the CE region and particularly in Hungary. So currently we have the Hungarian branch and also the CE ZRT Limited here, the both licenses, and which also operates as our regional hub in the CE region. And we have established over the past 10 years a few cross-border sub-branches with our business coverage covering the whole regions. So we see this potential because we believe the CE region and also especially Hungary has been achieving robust economic growth over the past years and also having a strong trade ties with China. And also particularly Hungary, we believe it is very competitive as a destination country for the Chinese overseas investment. So over the past 20 years and especially over the past 10 years, so Bank of China has achieved a robust business growth in the region and also in Hungary. And our business portfolio have expanded significantly and also the same for our client base. So currently we are serving a client group covering various industries, including energy, telecommunications, infrastructure, and manufacturers, and the constructions, etc. So we are very honored to be supporting the regional enterprises and the regional economic development by serving both the Chinese going global enterprises and also the local Hungarian and the CEE regional clients. So we hope and look forward that in the next decade of the BRI initiative, we will be able to make a greater contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Wang, turning to you, the China Construction Bank is quite a rookie, quite a newcomer to the Hungarian market. So what motivated you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nach. Before answering your question, please let me give a brief introduction of China Construction Bank. China Construction Bank headquartered in Beijing, and we established in 1954, and we are listed in Hong Kong Stock Exchange in 2005 and Shanghai Stock Exchange in 2007. By the end of 2022, our market capitalization approximately was 158 billion US dollar, ranking fourth among the listed banks in the world. And as per our Tier 1 capital, we are the second largest bank in the world. And with more than 14,000 outlets and 352,000 employees, we provide comprehensive service to 700 million personal clients and 9.35 million corporate clients. So our bank provides comprehensive in personal banking, corporate banking, treasury, and assets management. And for the globalization, and right now we have more than 200 overseas entities covering 31 countries and regions. So Hungary branch actually is a branch of China Construction Bank Europe SA, which is wholly owned by China Construction Bank Group. And in the EU, we have offices in Luxembourg, Paris, Milan, Barcelona, Amsterdam, and Warsaw. We are the sixth branch under CCB Europe. For the purpose of our establishment in the Hungary market, we are considering, of course, the solid, very good relationship between China and Hungary, and the support and the guidance and the very open attitudes from the central bank. We really appreciate that. But for our strategic plan, our establishment is considered, firstly, is in response to the Belt and Road Initiative, and follow all the Chinese going global clients in the CEE region. Secondly, we would like to strengthen our service to the Chinese investors in the CEC and also for their local clients. Thirdly, we would like to establish the linkage and contemporarily their cooperation, collaboration with internally with our offices in the Europe. Besides the CCB Europe and the branches, we also have offices in London, in Frankfurt, and Zurich. So we hope that we can cooperate and collaborate with our offices globally and to provide comprehensive services in the CE region. So this is our main purpose to set up the branch here. Yeah, and regarding to the market and the targets of the client, we although we have the full service license in Europe, but we just mainly focus on the corporate banking. So we provide the services, especially deposit taking, loan, and treasury, and also DCM service to corporate and institutional clients. And we hope that we can facilitate their cooperation and the development, of course, for the China and Hungary, and also we hope to contribute more in the Hungary market. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. And finally, Strenghening. The China Development Bank.
Yeah.
Your strategy.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Tomasz, and today I'm very pleasant to be here, and I'd like to take this chance to thank the MNB and the Embassy of China for hosting such a good event, and it's really an amazing atmosphere here. And also I want to thank my fellow Chinese financial institutions for joining our hands together and supporting each other in a very long time in, in exploring our business field in Hungary. And also, so back to the question, and what really motivates Chinese banks and Chinese enterprises in the financial market of Hungary, because we really see these advantages of Hungary. Hungary has a very good geographic location in the Central Europe, and it makes it very easier for the business to, to explore the Eastern and Western Europe through Hungary. And also, Hungary is an EU member, and that really makes very convenient for the Chinese enterprises to gain the regulatory stability and the access to the EU market. And also, Hungary has a really well-educated labor force and a relatively lower cost of the labor force comparing to those Western European countries, and that is a really good advantages here. And also, Hungary has a very good political environment here. It's very stable, and the stable political environment really ensures this rapid economic growth here. And you can see the number of Hungary, and it's always doing very great here. You can see their numbers even in the COVID areas, even in the COVID years. Hungary has a very good performance in the economic growth. So the most important part is Hungary has a is having a well-developed banking system here. The banking environment here in Hungary is very pretty amazing, and here are so many domestic and international banks here, and even multilateral banks here. So they are giving the services for the business and individuals here in Hungary. So it's a very prosperous market here. And so what are the opportunities for us, and what can we do in Hungary? Because we can enter the market to meet our new customers, and we can promote, the internationalization of the renminbi, the Chinese currency, and we can provide some, the renminbi-denominated services like here. And the most important part here is the BRI, and China's BRI aims to enhance the connectivity between China and other countries, and Hungary is really a hot spot on this route. So I think there are lots of opportunities here in Hungary, and Hungary may have a need for the funding of its project and the modernization of some infrastructures here. So our CDB is a policy bank in China, a so-called policy bank in China, and we are a development financial institution here. So we are focusing on more on mid and long-term loans to finance these projects. So yeah, as I just said, we can see the very good momentum of Hungarian economy, and we are more than happy to be here to finance these projects under the framework of the BRI. So yeah, we are very happy to join this party. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You were pointing to already some advantages Hungary is trying to provide Chinese banks and the Chinese economy. And my second question relates also to that, but I think rather again to Mr. Zhao. Mr. Zhao, to tell us about the experience of the Bank of China regarding the region, because you are now 2 decades already in Hungary, in the region. Are there any differences you have already learned in the region? So what can Hungary still give you as an opportunity to give benefits? So what are the differences, what you have experienced so far?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Thank you for the question. So currently, Bank of China operates globally in 64 countries and regions. So it is quite essential for us in every overseas branches to continue to recognize the involvement of the financial and the economic and the market changes in the market that we operate, and also align our business strategies and objectives in line with the market dynamics and the regulatory framework changes. So currently, compare with 20 or even 10 years ago, personally, I think the two major new developments or the new differences in the CE and also Hungarian market changes are two of them. So the first is the green development, and the second, I think it is the digitization and the technology development. So Bank of China here, in the CE and also in Hungary, we embrace those changes as we believe this is not only in line with the MNB's regulatory framework guidance, and it is also in line with the market and the customers' needs, and is also in line with bank's own aspirations for more business competitiveness and also management efficiency. So first, maybe on the green development. So in the past several years, so Bank of China CE and Hungary here have introduced and developed multiple green-related products in catering to the market demands. So for example, we have been issuing, granting new green loans, either it is general corporate purpose RCFs or it is special purpose, the project finance green loans. So by the end of June this year, our green loans balance have doubled compared to 1.5 years ago. And secondly, we also help our CE regional clients to issue sustainability-linked euro-denominated bonds in European markets. I think that also adds great value to the customers, which is very important to them. And also most importantly, I think as a lot of our audience may know, so Bank of China have helped the Hungarian market to issue the green panda bond in the Chinese interbank market. The first issuance was in 2021 and second issuance was in 2022. So the first issuance marks the first ever sovereign green bond issuer in the Chinese bond market. And finally, I would also like to say, Bank of China Hungarian branch itself is also actively being engaged in our green initiatives. For example, early in the year 2022, we have issued a $300 million US dollar denominated green bond that is dedicated for our own use as our funding source to support the green loans that we have issued to the clients. So the second initiative, I think, is the digitization and technology development. So I believe in the future, the technology or the digitization will be a defining factor that will set the competitiveness or the competitions between the financial institutions. So the digitization and the simplification and the automation, so I believe all those efficiency-enhancing procedures will help the financial institutions improve their customer interface experience, and also very importantly, to significantly boost our own back office operation efficiencies and reduce operation risks, and also I think to help our employees to improve their day-to-day working experience as they are engaged into the day-to-day flow every day. So it will ultimately enhance our own competitiveness and also the profitability. But it's also very important, for the financial institutions so that we could live from our current day-to-day operation and have a forward-looking perspective to think about what we really want in 10 years. So I think in both regards, Bank of China, Hungary here, we are following the MNB's very important guidance. One is the Green Initiative and one is the Digital Transformation Initiative to make real tangible changes to our operation here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In case of the China Construction Bank, by name, you are more dedicated to construction and infrastructure. But please let me explain. Please let us explain the bank's. What are the bank's main business segments, projects, where the bank is put focus, emphasis on? So, what are the projects and business focus? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nach. And according to our name, China Construction Bank, historically, we were founded as a state-owned bank to administer and to distribute their funds to the Chinese construction and infrastructure-related construction. But gradually, we transformed as a full-service commercial bank. And so the construction is related project finance and related financial services is also our strength. And for our strategy in the Hungarian or CEC market, of course, we are not only focused on the construction, we are, focused on the corporate banking service, as Ms. Zhao mentioned, that currently the green economy and digital economy is also our focus. And during our 3 years, actually, for our branch, we entered the market since 2020. During these 3 years, most of the time for the preparation, and also we actively participate in the market and also we cooperated with Bank of China and other Chinese banks to underwrite the Hungarian green penny bond. And also we invested the bonds to show our confidence in Hungary. And we facilitate the Chinese new energy companies to invest in Hungary. And also we provide financial loans to the local top energy companies to develop their markets, and especially we will also focus on the digital economy, and we have also we have a fintech lab in our branch as well. And so we hope that we can have a more and more cooperation and to facilitate the digital economy and have a cooperation with the local fintech companies, and also we have more cooperation with the local financial institutions, of course, the Chinese counterparts. Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Wang. Okay, and finally, it's almost the same question to Mr. Ying. Compared to your peers or competitors, if I may say so, how do you see the chances where your bank can contribute most to the development of the region, to Hungary's development, and of course achieving your goals?
So thank you, Mr. Tomasz. It's a very good question for us. And first of all, we focus on the infrastructure part of Hungary. And as I already mentioned before, we are a so-called policy bank in China, and we are a financial institution in China. So in China, we always tackling some big problems like, the tackling COVID-19 pandemic, and also eliminating poverty, and also we are very engaged in some the serious infrastructure building projects. And in Hungary, we are very interested in the building of the infrastructure here. And as far as I'm concerned, the infrastructure part is very good impetus in the economic growth. So we are really good at mid and long-term loans, and we would like to grant our loans to this to some different scales of project in Hungary. And also we would like to focus on the industry part of Hungary. And from the past few years, through interbank cooperations with our Hungarian counterpart, the Hungarian Development Bank, the MFB, and we carry out some very significant projects to benefit the Hungarian industries, and it has very good outcomes here until now. So, and another part we are focusing on is the green finance. Hungary is like many other countries in Europe. It's focusing more and more on the green initiative and the sustainability in the financing. So, I think we do have the solutions with our Hungarian friends to discuss how we can finance this environmentally friendly projects. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we only have 4 minutes left, but I still have one question to the three of you. As it was mentioned, the MMB became first in the continental Europe among central banks to enter into a bilateral FX swap framework agreement with the People's Bank of China. But forward-looking, how do you see MMB's role in developing economic and financial relations between China and Hungary? So what do we expect from us? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. So first of all, I would like to express, from Bank of China, our sincere appreciation to MMB for the timely guidance and the clear regulatory framework and also forward-looking perspectives that is so essential for a foreign bank, to operate here and to maintain our confidence. And secondly, I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to MMB's, strong support in promoting the use of RMB in the CE region and also in Hungary. So I think, as our audience may know, Bank of China Hungarian branch has been designated as the RMB clearing bank in Hungary back in the year 2015. So being a RMB clearing bank encompasses a lot more initiatives and also missions beyond providing clearing services only to financial institutions. So it includes multiple RMB products like trade settlement, RMB as an overseas investment currency, and also RMB exchange rate and interest rate hedging, and also we even issued the RMB and half foreign dual currency card. So we believe that in the future, the cultivation of use of RMB and the bilateral capital flows and investment flows, nothing of those could be achieved without the support and also promotion and also the forward-looking guidance of MMB. So I believe we look forward, we achieve more on that perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wang?
Yeah, we admire the MMB to establish the financial hub in CE, and we are looking forward to devote and to contribute in this financial market. Just as Mr. Zhao mentioned that as a China Construction Bank, during our establishment and in our operation, start of our operation in the Hungarian market, we really appreciate their support and guidance from central bank, and we also looking forward to more support and more guidance, and especially in their just like the digital currency and the fintech, and for this kind of cooperation with local financial institutions and with MMB as well. So thank you very much.
So thank you, Mr. Tomasz. And so I think the agreement you mentioned just before is very important. It's a very significant one. And as far as I know, this agreement has been extended so far. So I think it's a bilateral benefit for both the Hungarian and Chinese side. And for the Hungarian business, this agreement allows them to to exchange currencies and provide the liquidity they need. And also, there's no need to make the currency changes, and that can be pretty costly and pretty it's pretty complicated. And I think there are so many parts that MMB can do, like to engage in the BRI, and also to maintain a stability of currency, and to preventing the currency fluctuations. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the MMB for giving us support in the last year. Our establishment of our first representative office on the European continental, and now our office is running very smoothly as planned. So thank you for everything you have done for us. And so after all, I think the MMB is playing such a pivotal role in promoting and enhancing the economic ties between China and Hungary. So thank you so much.
Many thanks for the nice words. Ms. Zhao, Ms. Wang, Mr. Ying, many thanks for participating in this panel. It was very, very interesting. I think we are on the right way on building this win-win bridge, and we continue like that in the future. Many thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you for this discussion, and hope, and I'm sure we all find valuable information in this discussion. And as our first panel ended, the BRI 10 conference continued with its second session, titled the Creating New Pathway for Cooperation by Embracing Green Development. And as the topic is handled with high importance within the Magyar Nemzeti Bank, the MNB, in 2021, first among European central banks, the MNB acquired a green mandate, what is instrumental in transforming our economy in a sustainable one. So please let me invite you now to watch a short video related to this topic, and then we will continue with the second panel.
The MNB proudly announces the carbon neutrality of all its conferences, and as all of them, this is also a carbon-free event. With reforestation towards a greener financial system, 50,000 trees herald the central bank's green transition, and this number will increase in every year. The Hungarian Central Bank was among the first in Europe to receive an environmental sustainability mandate as one of its core tasks. Magyar Nemzeti Bank promotes the green transition of the financial system through incentive programs, recommendations, analyses, and discussion papers. The Hungarian Central Bank intends to set an example for Hungarian financial institutions by reducing and neutralizing its own carbon footprint. In line with this objective, the MNB offsets its carbon emissions caused by its own operation by financing habitat restoration projects every year. The MNB implemented a smaller pilot project in Pápateszér as a start. Then, in 2022, it financed a reforestation project the size of almost 40 football fields in Gest in order to offset the impact of emissions from its own operations. The central bank is committed to maintaining this practice in the future.
Now we will start the second panel, and I would like to invite the moderator, Mr. Levente Hörömpöli Tóth, Senior Communication Consultant at the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency called HIPA. Welcome on the stage. He gained extensive experience as a business journalist with the Budapest Business Journal, and he was former head of communication of the leading European digital innovation organization EIT Digital Hungary and the AI Coalition, Hungary's AI stakeholder platform. So welcome on the stage again. And also I would like to invite the panelists. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome Mr. Robert Fehér, Managing Director of the HG Energy. Welcome. The 8G Energy, a company specializing in renewable energy with the aim to promote green transition. Previously, Mr. Fehér worked in the business development for different energy companies and has manifold experience in project management as well. So welcome on the stage. The next panelist, Mr. Laurent Juhos, the government relation expert from the Corporate Public Affairs Department of Contemporary Amperex Technology Company, we know as CATL. He acquired more than 2 decades of experience at the Hungarian Ministry for Foreign Affairs. As a diplomat, he was stationed in Warsaw, Brussels, Trieste, and Rome also, so welcome on the stage. And last but not least, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Jason Xie, the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO of the Huawei Technology Hungary, to join the discussion. He has been working for Huawei since 2008, and Mr. Xie began his career in Huawei China, and in 2011 he started his career in the European Union. Then he soon became the general manager of the enterprise business group for Balkan region, and later he has responsible for the Czech, Austrian, and Slovak markets. Mr. Xie, thank you for joining us, and now let's start the second panel. So I give the floor to Mr. Hörömpöly Tóth, and thank you all of you to participate in the discussion.
Thank you so much. And the mic is working, and I love this mic. It's really impressive. Yeah. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so pleased and honored to welcome you all to our second roundtable discussion. I'm Levente Hörömpöly Tóth. I'm with HIPA, and we're going to discuss how new pathways for cooperation can be created in Hungary by embracing green development for the purpose of forging closer Chinese-Hungarian business relations. Now, I'm sure you must have all noticed that Chinese investment announcements in Hungary have been hitting the headlines in large numbers recently. And just a glance at HIPA's statistics can give you a pretty good idea how vibrant the FDI landscape has been from the Chinese business perspective. Consider this: since 2017, deals worth up to 12.3 billion euros have been closed by HIPA, and the recently announced mega projects by CATL, Eve Power, Huayu, Cobalt, and Samvoda alone account for an investment volume of 11.1 billion euros. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? In fact, China became the largest investor in 2020 for the first time, and most likely it will finish first this year again. Now, this investor activity, of course, has a lot to do with Hungary's opening to the East strategy, as it has been mentioned before also. So not surprisingly, Hungary was the first European nation that signed the Belt and Road Initiative back in 2015. What's more, last December, an agreement was drawn up to establish an intergovernmental cooperation committee, which has to monitor and gather existing and future business Belt and Road Initiative opportunities and see their implementation through. Now, this ever closer cooperation fits very, very nicely into Hungary's ambition to become the ultimate meeting point of investors from the East and the West. And given that electrification has become one of the main drivers of investment growth, attracting capital-rich and electrification-focused Chinese businesses is super beneficial for Hungary as well. Just to give you a few examples from the very recent past from the HIPA's project catalog, Pax Automotive or Shervan have both picked Hungary as their first manufacturing site to make e-car parts, and Semcorp's 183 million euro separator film plant marks another chapter of this success story. And as far as HIPA is concerned, we do our part as well to make sure that these investments are implemented in a sustainable way. In other words, we practice what we preach. Under our new reviewed subsidy scheme, if you build a new factory or if you want to extend your capacities and your investment involves renewable energy production capacities for self-usage, you can receive different levels of partial funding depending on the location. And HIPA is also implementing the government's so-called factory rescue program that embraces ESG awareness as well by subsidizing energy efficiency and renewable energy generation related investments of large firms. Now, all these measures should give another boost to the Chinese-Hungarian economic relations that are already thriving, but apparently there's still plenty of great opportunities out there under the Belt and Road Initiative and the Digital Silk Road program as well. And we have gathered today to explore some of these opportunities. Therefore, among others, we'd like to highlight what areas of potential cooperation exist under the Belt and Road Initiative in Hungary by embracing green development, what key policies and methods Hungary-based Chinese firms apply to achieve sustainability, and why energy management and energy supply planning are crucial tools on the path to net zero. And luckily, we have seasoned experts here with us today who are going to share insights on these very, very exciting matters. So I'm thrilled to welcome our esteemed panelists. May I introduce them briefly as well? I'm joined by Mr. Robert Fehér, Managing Director of ATG Energy, Mr. Laurent Juhos, Government Relations Expert of CATL Hungary, and Mr. Jason Xie, I hope you pronounce your name correctly, CEO of Huawei Hungary. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. It's great to have you all on the panel. And I would suggest we jump right in because we have a lot to cover. So why don't we take a first look at your green toolkit, so to say, the key policies, the main goals and best practices that you rely on in your day-to-day operations. It must be a long list, so maybe we should get started by having a targeted approach. And I was thinking of you, Jason. Maybe you can elaborate on digitization as such at Huawei, because I'm sure you can use digitization for the purpose of achieving sustainability to a great extent.
You're right, Mr. Lavender. Actually, sustainability is one of the biggest topics of every company and every country to focus on. Actually, from our company perspective, from my point of view, there are several aspects. First one, whether your company, from the group level, you are taking this seriously as one of your top, let's say, strategy in a group. Actually, Huawei Group, we are taking this sustainability as one of our key tasks from the group level. And this one, we are doing a lot of things in all across the world. Now we are serving in more than 170 countries globally. And actually, I can give several examples. For example, now we are doing some project with some local government. For example, in Norway, we are we are providing a technology to the government which is taking care of the salmon fish, which can enlarge the production of the salmon fish. And also this kind of activity also apply to the devices as well. In some country, we launched the project which we collect the old phone from the customer, the consumer, and then they can have a discount to buy a new phone. And then we will do the recycle for the old phone, which we collect from the client. This is from the government level of the company. Second one, you need to have the technology. Just now you mentioned about the digitalization. Actually today there is one of the hot topic, which is the 5G and also the artificial intelligence. But these two new technology is for our future, but also there is a difficulty. How to lower down the power consumption. Actually in the past year, Huawei is investing a lot into our R&D. For example, last year, we invest more than 25% of our group revenue into our R&D investment. This is giving us that we can provide the good technology to support our customer to do the carbon neutrality. There are several aspects. For example, now in the 5G, more and more clients need more data consumption in the digitalization. But this will also bring a higher power consumption. In our technology, we can differentiate which time frame can the customer do not need so huge capacity. Then we can lower down the consumption of the equipment of the technology. This is the second thing. And also, we also providing the inverter and also the battery storage for our client in the global market. Here in Hungary, we have one calculation. Since last few years, the customer using our new technology in Hungary is equal to plant 1.6 million trees in Hungary for the carbon neutrality. The second one is this number is, if I'm not misunderstanding, is like a 40 billion tree globally. This is the second aspect. Third aspect is about the talent. Because for the new energy or for the carbon neutrality strategy is applying in all the country and all the company. This is the things need the next generation to get new knowledge and also prepare for the new innovation. Huawei now is cooperating with a lot of university. Globally, we are just in last year, we have the cooperation with the 600 university and the education to transfer the knowledge from Huawei understanding to the new generation is more than 220,000 students. That's my sharing. Thank you.
That's pretty impressive. So yeah, thank you, Jason. Now about CATL, we all know that you already run a zero carbon battery factory in China, which is amazing. And the plant you are planning to build in Debrecen, which is, by the way, the biggest greenfield investment in Hungary's history, is also going to be a zero carbon factory. What does it take to be able to run a factory like that? It must be a hard job.
Yes, creating a carbon neutral ecosystem of CATL plants is a very ambitious goal that the company is very committed to achieve. March 2022 was a milestone on this road when the company's Sichuan plant in Yibin was qualified by an international certification body as the world's very first carbon neutral battery factory, a status that CATL plans to achieve with its Hungarian plant as well, shortly after it starts its operation. So far, CATL has managed to achieve it in 4 of its plants worldwide. And at this year's Shanghai Auto Show, CATL announced its plans to achieve carbon neutrality in its core operations by 2025 and throughout the whole value chain by 2035, which means that in 2 years, all of CATL's factories will be carbon neutral, and in 12 years, batteries themselves as products from mineral to ready product will also be carbon zero. Thus, the carbon footprint of an electric vehicle throughout this whole life cycle can be reduced by more than 40%. So I guess these are very ambitious goals, but the company has already proven that it manages to achieve these goals. And I reiterate, with the Hungarian plant, it's planned to achieve carbon neutrality shortly after it starts its operations. An integral part of this strategy will be an own green energy supply on and off-site, the Debrecen plant. With regard to on-site green energy supply, the company will install PV's photovoltaic panels on the roof of the Debrecen factory in a capacity of about 18 megawatt hour. When it comes to off-site green energy supply, CATL has various options, either purchase it from a specialized so-called PPA company. PPA, if I'm not wrong, stands for Power Purchase Agreement, or to construct these green energy supply independently, or a third option is to do that in cooperation with another investor. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Apparently, CATL is very much prepared and to take up this challenge. And this is basically where a company like HG Energy comes in, right? Because you deal with energy management and energy supply planning. And I'm sure your services can be used by a company like Huawei and CATL alike.
Yeah, so
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Let me step back a bit. So in the past 10, 20 years, all the companies were used to energy as a given fact. Everything was in order. Nothing has to do with it. Suppliers supply the energy. This has significantly and tremendously changed in the past 2 to 3 years due to several factors, which can be called COVID, the war in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia, and also a very, very strong, and I think this is one of the strongest factors, is the sustainability. Many automotive tier 1 and the big brands that we all know require now all the suppliers to supply the goods from sustainable manners. That means, and also the volatility of costs of energy, because this year it's, I don't know, just I'm saying numbers, 100, next year 200. And in energy-intensive factories, it's very crucial. We work with 200, 300 companies in Hungary, Hungarian and foreign-owned, and we see that in many cases, for example, energy represents 40% of the total price of the end product, which is tremendous. If you think that this can be zero profit or minus 20% profit in the next year. Therefore, I think it's crucial, and the crucial changes started and being developed and implemented by companies. And I think what is crucial is the pragmatic planning and implementation. And I think everything is starting, especially with a new factory like CATL. They are very advanced in this topic, that they are planning the infrastructure, even the wires and the solar PV. They are orienting the factories in a way to maximize the solar potential. We are already building not the same size, but half of the size PVs, 2 of them already on-site factories. And then it comes energy management, which can see, I think Huawei is one of the great examples. It can mean 25% of the total consumption can be reduced through energy management. We have already seen very good cases. And all these things together can give up a sustainable operation in terms of energy. And I think it is crucial that you don't use that much energy, or you supply yourself from your rooftop or the field next to it, rather than importing it from different countries. And all this can lead, of course, with the usage of battery. Seattle has also, and many other brands have a very crucial role here. We can give, I'm not saying that 100% is reachable, it's ambitious, but 90% is easily reachable. We have seen already many good cases in these terms, and we are implementing this in many companies. And I think here also the previous panel, the banking industry has a crucial role on the long term, I think.
Right, I'm pretty sure companies will be reaching out to you in big numbers, because especially once these figures become obvious to them, like how much they can actually save in terms of energy and money. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the obstacles and bottlenecks here, because we all know that it's a long and winding road, it's a bumpy road to sustainability, and I'm sure there are things that you need to face and you need to overcome. So can we just briefly touch upon them? But just so that we still have some time to finish off with a positive message, of course.
So maybe from my part, just now I mentioned about 2 cases, which is our challenging in the digitalization industry. It's about more and more customer need more data consumption, more data traffic consumption in the internet. Second one is about the artificial intelligence, which means our client need a bigger data center. These two is the future demand for the whole industry and for every state. And how to lower down the power consumption in this 2 domains and to save the energy. Actually, in Huawei's practice, we are doing like this way. In the network side, we have 2 solutions. One is that we have the smart control of the radio access network, which is providing the data connection to the end user device. It can be turned off. It can be turned off when there is no data consumption. In a word, is that 0 bit, 0 watt. This is one of our statement in the industry. Second one, regarding the artificial intelligence, this one, every customer need a more powerful computing power in their domain. For example, the bank, for example, the government, etc., and all the big company as well. This kind of a big data center, it will need much more, let's say, cooling system. Actually, we are developing our smart cabinet. In this smart cabinet, it can lower down the power consumption and also provide the cooling without the air condition. And the third thing is that in our because Huawei is funded from the technical communication, and also later on we entering the digital power industry. We are combining these two things together, which also we have the product is providing the smart controlling of the power system. One is to improve the power consumption efficiency. For example, we have the charging station, and the charging efficiency is one of the highest in the world, which is improving the efficiency of the power consumption. And second one is that it can maintain your power system to be in the most efficient way for the power consumption. Yeah.
Laura, please.
Thanks for your question. I was planning to mention one non-sector specific and a sector specific topic. I would rather not talk about obstacles or bottlenecks. I would rather call them challenges. CATL, with 13 functioning operation sites worldwide, has now extensive experience in functioning, in operating its plants in a sustainable and competitive way. The non-sector specific challenge was exactly the same that my colleague has just mentioned. Maybe to pick a sector-specific challenge as well, I guess there is always room for the improvement of proportions between the use of primary and secondary raw materials. About battery manufacturing, by secondary raw materials, I mean recycled raw materials. Thus, supply chain could be further shortened. Thus, a further positive impact could be made on environment protection. Thank you.
I would also join to my colleague. I would call them rather challenges than obstacles. And I think if I, again, stepping back to the traditional energy system, energy investment is a long-term investment, 15 to 20 years. I'm coming from oil and gas industry originally, and there 15 to 20 years is the minimum return and life cycle of an investment. Here in the renewable energy, it's rather shorter, between 5 to 10. But I think it sends the message that reliable and countable policy is very important, because it's even a long-term investment. Financing is a key point, and I think what's now, it's also the third important, the willingness to change. Because we do see in our daily operation that many companies, however they say they are very innovative and ready to change, on their decisions they are not ready to change into the direction of sustainability and changing their energy scheme and system.
Great, time's flying, so actually I still want to squeeze in just 2 more questions, believe it or not. For one, let's just dig a little bit deeper when it comes to the sustainable value chain, because that's what everybody's talking about all the time, right? So how do you see this can be achieved in your operations, and how is it actually coming along?
Again, start from me?
Well, you don't have to, but... As you wish.
So from the supply chain perspective, actually I think everyone knows that in the past few years, Huawei faced a very big challenge in the supply chain. And actually we have our, we still keep our sustainability supply chain as our one of the first priority. And every year we do the sustainability audits towards 1,600 global supplier, Huawei supplier. This 1,600 supplier occupy 90% of Huawei purchase. We also require them to look into this sustainability building in their company. These are the first things. Second things is that we have established the global supply chain center in different countries. For example, here in Hungary, we established the company in 2005. In 2005, now it's almost 20 years. Later on, we also established our supply chain, European supply chain center located in Hungary. Actually, now we have several factories located here. This supply chain center can let our capability to shorten the lead time to our customer, and in order to support our customer for their change, for their innovation. This is also the things which we request the whole supply chain from the material production and also to the end customer usage, which can support the final customer to achieve their sustainability target.
Okay, I want to just break the pattern and ask Robert to go second.
Thank you. As we do, as almost everyone knows nowadays in Hungary, the sustainability and the renewable energy means 90% almost solar power plants. It's not a secret that we import the modules and the inverters from Huawei, from China, and I think therefore it's quite crucial, the sustainability. Therefore, we very welcome the BRI initiative, because last year we do have seen several severe problems in the value chain, while on the seaborne value chain, and therefore I think it's quite important, the road and the railroad development, and it's more sustainable than to ship via shorter, significantly, and more safe than reliable than seaborne.
Excellent. Murat?
As the EU's new battery regulation published this summer establishes batteries are key for global sustainable development and also for Europe's shift towards a carbon neutral sustainable economy. Now, CATL, as a global market leader for 6 years with 63 countries where it has sold its products, and with a cumulative sale of over 9 million vehicles furnishing them. And let's not forget about green energy solutions that CATL offers for industrial purposes as well. I guess these sheer numbers alone demonstrate themselves that CATL's contribution is already great to global decarbonization efforts. And as a global market leader of new energy innovative technologies, it does have the ambition to have a positive impact on its broader industry environment as well. It's working hand in hand with its supply chain partner to create a new energy industry ecosystem and to create competitive yet safe, green and sustainable supply chain. It has carried out way more than 100 training sessions for its supply chain partners. These are sustainability related training sessions. CATL has created a comprehensive audit toolkit called Credit, this is a big database toolkit actually, which is able to comprehensively evaluate sustainability performance indexes of enterprises throughout the supply chain system, thus helping CATL's supply chain partners as well to explore their paths towards sustainability.
Excellent. Well, our time is actually almost up, but I'll go for it anyway. Let's have like a really quick round. Whether I just really want to know whether you see any new potential cooperations on the horizon, and do you think these very great Chinese-Hungarian relations have an impact on that one? And then you can also give like a takeaway for the audience, like all 3 in 1, okay? So, and very quickly, please.
That would be short and quick. This is the sustainability is one of the things, and also for carbon neutrality is one of the things which will not depend on a single government, single company. This is the things which request the whole ecosystem to cooperate. I think, especially based on the current China and Hungarian cooperation, the technology, the finance, and also the policy from both government, and also the high-tech from each company, and also the services from the local company. This is the things which can support the success of the business in Hungary as well.
Great. I would highlight the investment environment and the already functioning car manufacturer production facilities in the country, which favors to a great extent the shortening of supply chains. I guess the importance of shortening supply chains has become evident over the past few years for everybody. And I guess these synergies could be further enhanced by the involvement, for instance, of Hungarian research and development centers into this process. So that's maybe one pick for a possibility of further cooperation. Anyway, CATL does involve local R&D, research and development partners, both in China and in Germany as well. And the takeaway may be very briefly, I have mentioned that, or haven't I, that I have joined CATL very recently. Not long ago, I had the opportunity to travel through the vast and beautiful Thuringian forests and visit CATL's factory there. And for me, it was thought-provoking to see how China has brought state-of-art technology to Central Europe, to a country, Germany, where both industrial traditions and environmental awareness is at absolutely world level.
Thank you.
I think it's not a question that in the changing environment and changing energy from fossil to renewable energies, on the short term and on the long term, China has a major role, and I think here China-Hungarian cooperation is quite important, not just for changing, but also for innovation, common thinking, and implementing these innovations.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. There's a lot to look forward to, apparently. Thank you for the great insights, excellent food for thought, and thank you to our audience for their kind and undivided attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hörömpöly-Tóth, for the moderating, and thank you for the panelists for this excellent panel. And with closing our second panel, we are going to have a short break. Then we will continue with the third panel discussion, focusing on the people-to-people relationship. We would like to request your participation in the meeting starting at 12:05. So now we will have the 15 minutes break, and then we will continue. Welcome back, and hope.
We have just succeeded to submit a very good and a very accurate design that was approved and also implemented.
We have in total currently over 13,000 megawatt hour power project.
It has provided Sri Lanka with much needed hope
and build this road M5 for us in our record time. And further more, it is of the world quality level.
It has helped connect, bring Pakistan one step closer to being connected from one end to the other.
I have found them to be very professional and also sensitive to the local traditions and the local customs of the country.
They can share their technology, expertise, knowledge, and they can train us.
ขอบใจสป.จีนที่ได้เปิดโครงการหนึ่งแล้วหนึ่งเส้นทางที่ได้นำเอาโอกาสอันดีมาสู่ประชาชนลาว
I am involved in one of the major expressway construction project which connects capital of Sri Lanka and center of Sri Lanka, which is called Central Expressway project. This project connects major and most important two cities of Sri Lanka, which provides safe and comfort traveling and good transport between two cities with minimum travel time and minimum operating cost.
So overall, if I look mainly on the energy and the power sector, the CPEC contribution are tremendous. In terms of BRI initiative, of course, this is much bigger than the CPEC initiative of energy and the infrastructure in Pakistan. So it has obviously the global impact, and over 60 countries are involved in that. But CPEC has remained the flagship project under which most of the success has been achieved.
The Pakistan has this corridor from Karachi, Multan, Lahore, Pindi, and further to China has given us the economic boom. And further, it will enhance our economic activities in our region. We thank Chinese government and the Chinese people who came to Pakistan from China and built this road for us in a record time. They gave us the new ways and means how to build the road in a record time and in a short time with world level qualities.
We expect to do much more in the future when the project achieves commercial operations. From a provincial point of view, the government of KPK benefited from the enhanced tax revenue during the construction activity, and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Revenue Authority very graciously awarded us as one of the highest taxpayers in the province in the year 2022. Once the project is completed and starts supplying electricity, it's expected to generate more than 884 megawatts of clean energy, which will benefit the environment and add to the much needed energy requirements of the country, which in my opinion is a great public service.
This project gives us new avenue by cooperating all the security elements, giving the security to our Chinese friend working on this project. This project initiated new economic activity in this area, which helped the local in increasing their income. This project also helped in developing the backward area of Pakistan. In future, I hope China and Pakistan will have more cooperation in different sectors, such as infrastructure, construction, power, and agriculture.
ข้าพเจ้าหวังให้จีนเพิ่มทวีการลงทุนในการก่อสร้างหนึ่งแล้วหนึ่งเส้นทางเช่นการลงทุนด้านคมนาคมกสิกรรมการศึกษาอุตสาหกรรมและโครงการอื่นๆซึ่งจากนั้นเราจะพัฒนาอันนี้ชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ของประชาชนให้ดีขึ้นโดยมีการเข้าร่วมของจีน
There's a saying called a road is a life, and that has truly been the embodiment when it comes to this Multan sector motorway. It has had numerous benefits. Not only has it helped develop the less developed part of southern Sindh, but it has also helped reduce the time of travel for agricultural farmers from 11 hours down to 5 to 6 hours by over more than 100 kilometers. So it's been very beneficial. Other than that, it's also employed 36,000 people, a peak of 36,000 people at its most active period, which is, as you can tell, it's a lot of jobs. Other than that, it has been beneficial in bringing the country together by bringing it one step closer to being connected from one end to the other.
โครงการดังกล่าวได้ปรับปรุงชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ของประชาชนในแต่ละท้องถิ่นสร้างโอกาสการจ้างงานให้ประชาชนลาวหลายขึ้นยกระดับชีวิตการเป็นอยู่และการศึกษาของประชาชนนำเอาผลิตภัณฑ์การเกษตรของท้องถิ่นให้สามารถส่งออกสู่ตลาดการค้าสากลที่ใหญ่กว่าโดยผ่านเส้นทางใหม่และทางรถไฟใหม่นอกนั้นยังได้เพิ่มทวีความสำคัญในการแลกเปลี่ยนด้านเศรษฐกิจและการค้าระหว่างประเทศลาวประเทศอ้อมข้างและบรรดาประเทศเรียบตาม1แล้ว1เส้นทางและสุกยู่การพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจของภาคพื้นได้อย่างว่องไว
จากเฮือนไม้ที่สุกโทรมในอดีตได้ถูกย้ายไปอยู่บ่อนใหม่ซึ่งได้ปรับปรุงชีวิตการเป็นอยู่ให้ดีขึ้นสุขาภิบาลในการศึกษาของพวกเราได้รับการปรับปรุงเส้นทางเข้าออกบ้านได้ถูกสร้างขึ้นใหม่ผลิตภัณฑ์เกษตรยังสามารถขนส่งเข้าออกเมืองเพื่อซื้อขายผ่านถนนสายนี้ซึ่งได้เพิ่มรายรับด้านเศรษฐกิจของพวกเรา
สบายดีน้องฟื้นน้องนุรักษ์จิตสมบัติปัจจุบันนี้น้องเรียนอยู่ปฐมบ้านบวมอ้อที่ได้รับการช่วยเหลือจากรัฐบาลจีนเมื่อก่อนเฮือนของน้องเก่าหลายบ่มีโทรภาพโรงเรียนและโรงเรียนก็บ่เพียงพอและน้องก็ได้ขี่เรือข้ามไปอีกฝากหนึ่งของแม่น้ำเพื่อไปโรงเรียนปัจจุบันน้องได้ย้ายมาเฮือนหลังใหม่ที่บริษัทโนริงโกอินเตอร์เนชั่นแนลก่อสร้างน้องสามารถเบิ่งโทรภาพอยู่เฮือนหลังใหม่และสามารถเรียนอยู่ในโรงเรียนหลังใหม่แทนที่จะขี่เรือข้ามแม่น้ำไปโรงเรียนทุกๆมื้อ
So in my opinion, this is a very good and unprecedented enterprise by the government of China. In 2013, when President Xi Jinping expressed his vision of a community of shared destiny, this was something unheard of before. And this was the first time that all the countries being part of this initiative were to share in the successes that this was to bring.
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy birthday to One Belt, One Road Initiative.
Happy 10th birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy 10th birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy anniversary to the Belt and Road Initiative.
Happy anniversary to Belt and Road, and wish you all the best for the future.
Happy birthday to the Belt and Road Initiative.
亘万里的丝绸之路，曾经成就发展与繁荣，书写和平与友谊。“一带一路”根植于历史，激荡于现实，奏响21世纪的伟大乐章。推进实现全方位互联互通。“一带一路”正在让历史重焕光彩，让梦想照亮现实。为世界经济注入新动能，创造就业与财富。 释放各国发展潜力，实现经济大融合、发展大联动、成果大分享。文明远行并拥抱，不同种族的人们远行并交好。一带一路源于中国，属于世界。它推动中国与世界共商合作，共建繁荣，共享未来。
Dear all, thank you for staying with us at the BRI 10 seminar on high-quality co-construction of the Belt and Road. Prospects for the next decade conference, and a warm welcome for those who has just joined in our conference. The conference continues with its third session titled Strengthening the Closer Bonds by Promoting People-to-People Exchanges. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to greet on the stage the participants of the panel discussion. First, let me invite Ms. Marta Fazekas, the Head of Tourism Diplomacy Directorate at the Hungarian Tourism Agency. Welcome on the stage. She has wide expertise in the field of international communication and cultural diplomacy, worked in the US and also in Russia and Romania as well. She attended many international conferences as a speaker and lecturer at different universities in Europe, Russia, and Tajikistan too. For the next panelist, I would like to welcome Ms. Alexandra Zoltai, the director of the Confucius Institution of Szeged. Since the end of the Welcome on the stage. Since the end of the 2017, she has been the elected vice president of the Hungarian Chinese Friendship Society also. And for the 3 years, she was the China analyst and creative coordinator of the Hungarian National Bank's foundation, PAGEO. And last but not least, I would like to introduce myself again, as in the beginning of the conference. I will be the moderator of this panel too. I'm Levente Horváth, the director of the Eurasia Center of John von Neumann University, and before I was the Consul General of Hungary in Shanghai, and later on I participated in the Central Bank of Hungary, but I don't want to waste the time. Let's start with the third session of the conference. So welcome all of you in the third panel. We have a short time to discuss about the people-to-people relation in the BRI. As earlier we have heard in the speeches that knowing the cultures between these regions is very important, especially in the Eurasia era, because in the New World Order there is not only the Western civilization, but there are other civilizations too. And to know them better, now we will introducing some interesting information about these cultural differences. And first of all, before the lunch, I would like to moderate this session. And my first question would be that about the tourism, because maybe a lot of people interested in how can we get to China, or what is the opportunity, what is the chance to go to China, and looking around. And I know the Hungarian Tourism Agency, it's working a lot on the cooperation between Hungary and China. And before the COVID, there was already a lot of flights to China. And now in this year, China already opened up after the COVID, but we have more and more flights to get there. And I would like to ask Ms. Fazekas, director, that introducing some example about these opportunities between Hungary and China, and of course about the tourism development between the two countries in the BRI.
So thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for keeping with us, because I know before the lunch it is not the most ideal time. At first, I would like to start with a comeback, because in one of the first presentations we saw by Mr. Chismodia a really good map showing the flight connectivity. I think this is my connection to the previous one, because without flights by the long-haul markets, it would be impossible to talk about anything. So for us, it is a really big honor that in this region we are one of the we have the leading position. We have every week 10 direct flights from 4 different cities, and I think it shows clearly how important for Hungary in general the Chinese market is. Actually, before the pre-COVID area, like everybody, we also do our top 10. From the top 10 countries, China had the 9th position, which is a really good position. And unfortunately, during the COVID years, of course, the sum zeroed. But now we see, thanks our digital data-driven tourism marketing tools, that the numbers are coming back, and we are very, very optimistic. We have really good numbers without selling too much industrial secrets. I can assure you that the numbers are really good. Our CEO will give a general overview about the exact numbers at the end of September by the Tourism Day. But in secretive ways, by the lunch, you can ask me about the numbers. So back to the serious topics. Of course, without China, it is impossible to think about the tourism in a big scale in Hungary. For us, this market is a rising star. And not just because of the great air connectivity, but also because, in general, the hotel industry is ready to welcome Chinese guests. Of course, there are certain requirements which are more important for a guest from China than for somebody from Spain. And those small things what makes the general feeling at the end really good for each and everyone visiting that hotel. Thanks to the great job by my dear colleague who is sitting here with us, Yo-Yo, who is a dedicated person for pro-China development in the tourism sector as well. The hotel sector is ready to welcome those people arriving by these direct flights. And you know, we had the big honor at the very beginning of this year that Hungary was the only one in the Schengen zone who could welcome again Chinese guests, which is a huge thing. In general, it was a huge advertisement for us and a huge advantage compared with our competitors in the region, because for sure, as everybody here in the room, if you travel to a far-away destination, you would like to combine your trip with other countries, or you would like to have a bigger scale what you see. So by welcoming them only in Budapest, it opened a huge opportunity for the sector, and we really used it, I believe, so the numbers will show later on. And in general, if I may enter it in a personal note, I was lately invited by the Chinese government to Shenzhen, and by this point I would like to thank again. This was a really great opportunity to see the other side of the table, because usually you are here as a welcoming person and you see the Chinese visitors at the other point, on the other end of the world, 11 hours farther by flight. I saw how welcomely they did everything for us, I can tell you, and it was a very welcoming situation regarding the Silk Road initiative, connecting the cities seated on the Silk Road, and also those who are a little bit farther but willing to be part of this system.
Thank you. And the tourism is the first step of the knowing each other by the people-to-people BRI pillar. And but there are also, not only tourists can come to Hungary, or Hungarian tourists can go to China by the flights. There are a lot of students also arriving to Hungary, and a lot of Hungarian students are going to China to study Chinese and other majors. I would like to ask Ms. Zoltai that how do you see the strengthening of the educational cooperation between Hungary and China, especially in the BRI, and what is the role of the Confucius institutions for this educational cooperation?
Thank you, Mr. Levente, and thank you for the organizers to having me here today. It's such an honor to be a part of the 10th anniversary of the BRI, and I hope I can be here maybe the 5th anniversary 40 years later, but we will see. That is a really good question. Yes, a lot of Chinese students come to learn in Hungarian universities, And the two countries in 2017 upgraded their relations when they established the comprehensive strategic partnership between China and Hungary. And also the Eastern opening announced by the Hungarian party was a good prelude for this, and also the announcement of the Belt and Road Initiative by the Chinese party. So they established in 2017 a pretty strong relations between the two countries. And I think one of the most important things to these relations can happen, this strong relationship, is one of the cultural diplomacy and one of the educational cooperation. And in 2004 was the most important date, I think, when the two countries decided to establish in Budapest the Hungarian-Chinese bilingual primary and high school, and it still operates. And as far as I think, it's still a really unique education site in Europe. And the other major things when the Confucius Institutes are established in Hungary, for example, one in Szeged, it was established in 2012, and since then 4 other institutes were established, like Budapest, Pécs, Miskolc, and Debrecen. But if we look at in parallel in the Chinese side, from 2019, I think 12 universities in China started Hungarian majors. So so the Chinese students can learn Hungarian language in 12 Chinese universities. And for the succession of the Belt and Road Initiative is not enough to make good economic ties, make good financial ties, but also it's really important to develop the cultural aspect, the people-to-people relations. And I think in this, Confucius Institutes plays a really big role because without them it's not really can work, because CIs can build a cultural bridge between China and other countries alongside with the BRI countries. So, and if we see that in 2004, the Chinese government established the Confucius Institute, and from that time, now we have 450 Confucius Institutes, more than 150 countries in the world, so it's a pretty huge number. And the distribution of these Confucius Institutes are not uniform because these institutes concentrated in Eurasia. We can say that more than 300 Confucius Institutes are located in Eurasian countries. And if we look at the Belt and Road, like more 138 countries participated in the Belt and Road, and of these, 117 countries host a Confucius Institute or Confucius Institutes, like Hungary. And this highlights us that it's a pretty huge thing if we are looking at the educational cooperations, and it shows us that these countries along the Belt and Road are really opened up themselves to know more about the Chinese language, the Chinese culture, and also highlighted us the effectiveness of the Chinese soft power.
As we are talking about the education, we have to know that in China, they are all studying the poem of Petőfi. But I would like to ask, what is the next project, or what is the strategy that the Chinese know more and more about Hungary, and they are coming to Hungary to traveling and looking around and knowing more Hungarian culture? And I have heard about the film tourism, what is a very interesting example, and I would be happy if you could giving us some introducing about this.
Yes, thank you for the question. It is really good, because when you just think about it, how you look for anything, you grab your phone and you search. So how what do you search? For what do you search? Mostly for pictures. And then one step further, if you have some time, then you look short videos. And if you have a little bit more time, because the video was so interesting, then you watch a series or a movie or anything like that, which is in short and compact way explain for what you are interested in. So this is a slight way of influence your opinion. Everybody uses it. We try to use it as well. So I can tell you in a nutshell that we had several different movies made in Budapest or in Hungary. The latest one, perhaps a couple of people here in the room already heard about it or saw it even, because it is right now in the air. It is the Chinese restaurant, which was made in Budapest. It is a big, big hit. We saw people waiting in front of the secret restaurant, not that secret anymore, but the people were waiting in long lines. And I was one of the lucky one who could enter the restaurant and see the show from behind the scenes, and then enjoying the great food that those stars being part of this reality show prepared. So perhaps it sounds a little bit silly, but 1.2 billion people showed it already. So can you imagine? 1.2 billion people saw the beautiful Danube from both sides, the parliament, Gödöllő, the restaurant itself, the interaction with Hungarians. So what it is, if not a huge campaign for Hungary. This is the positive image building campaign explained in a soft way. It is not that dedicated like a documentary movie, which has far less interested persons. But before that, of course, it was a long way. My dear colleague worked on this topic in the last decade. So we had other movies made in Budapest as well, like The Love Actually, also The Golden Job, and also a very romantic movie about trips Samvel survives in Hungary and in Europe. So this is not that we started like this with 1.2 billion, and these numbers are just until now, and the show is still in air, so we hope for much, much more numbers. But we see a huge potential in it. Of course, in our time, in this age, there were already a lot of names during this conference, how we can call this time. But you can also call it as the dictatorship of pictures and movies in general. So we believe that this is the right track, and we can use it and encourage it further on. We have some cooperation already, which is looking good, and hopefully by the next conference like this, I will have a much longer list to tell you what are the other movies showed about Hungary and China. But we believe that this is something that we have to follow, because it is so important and so effective, like nothing else.
Also, the Chinese, they can know about Hungary by these films and movies and series. And what about the other side in Hungary? How can we know better the Chinese culture? What usually the projects of the Confucius institutions, and how do you see that, for example, in Szeged? How do they welcome these Chinese cultural programs? And also, we know that you are the vice president of the Friendship Association between Hungary and China, and what do you do to help the people-to-people relation between China and Hungary?
Thank you for the question. With the Confucius Institute, the CI's first aim to provide Chinese language courses in different levels, like from the beginners to the native proficiency. And also we want to provide opportunities for students to attend international Chinese language exams like HSK. The second thing, as the second most important thing what the Confucius Institutes are doing is to provide culture events. And these events and also the language courses, not just for our students in the universities, but also it opens for a wider community, like for example, in Szeged, we are really welcome for a wider community, and they really would like to join these events, for example, film screenings, also like art festivals, also Chinese painting and calligraphy workshops. A lot of people really would like to attend this and really opened up themselves for the Chinese culture, for the Chinese language. And I think we can say that usually Hungarian people are really open, not just for Western cultures, but also Asian cultures. So I think we have a really easy task to do, but they are really opened up themselves for this. And the other major thing what CI is doing is also research projects in universities, like in University of Szeged. We are collaborate like other Hungarian universities or Chinese universities, and usually we welcome delegations from China, usually from Chinese universities, and in these visits they can see or Hungarian universities know more about Hungarian cultures, more about Hungarian higher education, and then when they're going back to China, they will send us probably more Chinese students to study in Hungary. So that's the major project.
We have heard about the Mid-Autumn Festival. Maybe and there are a lot of participants who are interested in where can we buy the mooncakes. So can you give us some hint about it?
Maybe in Kőbánya-Kispest, I don't know, in Chinatown. Maybe you know better, but I don't know. I don't really like mooncakes, sorry.
Ms. Fazekas, you have mentioned that you were in Jindarzhen. It's not a big city in China, but in the other way, I would like to ask that the Chinese tourists, which Hungarian cities are they interested in it? So they usually come to Budapest, we know it. Sometimes they are going to Havis. But is there other smaller cities that they are interested in it, like the Chinese government, they wanted to show you Jindarzhen? What do you offer to promoting for the Chinese tourists?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. Actually, like everywhere, the capital has the leading role. Budapest is our flagship, and mostly they stay here for a longer time. If they have a little bit more time than in our Grand Budapest offer, they usually visit Gödöllő, which has a beautiful Baroque castle. I'm not sure how many of you have already seen it. If not, please, just a 1 hour ride from Budapest, go for it. It's really, really beautiful. And then further on, if they have opportunity, then as you mentioned, they try the thermal lake in Havis. And my dear colleague, Yo-Yo, also works on it by different sales calls and workshops and trade shows to show the wide offers of Hungary. In South Hungary, it was Szeged already mentioned, like a popular spot, but also Villany has a lot to offer by these cultural meeting in Szingeden. We represented actually 3 cities who wanted to collaborate. It was Havis, Villany, and Szeged. So they were all very Chinese-oriented right away. But of course, because now in Eastern Hungary there is a lot of Chinese investment, we see growing numbers in Debrecen and Nyíregyháza in that region, and Tokaj itself is treasure. So who doesn't want to try some sweet, gorgeous wine? So we see a broader perspective of growing interest, and we hope that Hungary as a whole will be more interested in the future. But to tell you the truth, you mentioned at the very beginning of your question, Budapest Havis has the leading role, combining with Gödöllő nearby. So in general, everybody is fighting for more tourists on the local side, or competitors in the Czech Republic. They also say that Czechia is more than Prague, And Austria, I just had a meeting Friday with the CEO of the Austrian tourism office, and she said that they are fighting so much that people arriving to Vienna leave the city and go further, at least until Graz. So it is a new future, and thanks to the sustainability, because a lot of young people think about it even more. In the regional connections, we see a growing interest towards smaller highlights, let's say like this, because I don't want to criticize Graz for its opportunity. But at the very end, when you travel from that far, when you arrive, for example, from Ningbo or Shanghai, of course, you are concentrated at first for the biggest highlight, and in Hungary, this is Budapest.
You have mentioned that hotels are prepared for welcoming the Chinese tourists, and I would like to ask that, comparing to Czechia, for example, or other countries, what should we prepare more for welcoming more Chinese? Because we know the Chinese tourists are spending the most of the money during their visits in Hungary and on the whole world. So we should welcome more Chinese tourists. Maybe it would be a big help for us. But related to the financial discussions that, for example, in Czechia, there is a WeChat and Alipay. The Chinese tourists, they can use it during their traveling. In Hungary, what about this? And what other suggestions do you have to build up better welcoming for the Chinese tourists?
Thank you for the question. These are really good comments on the topic. Actually, unfortunately, in Hungary, only my good Chinese friends use WeChat. Mostly you use the messenger functions or WhatsApp or a classical SMS you are sending to your colleagues or friends. Yes, it is a long-term goal, of course, and because we are sitting here in the headquarters of the leading bank, I believe the decision when you can use the Alipay will be made somewhere here in these rooms around us. Of course, we would welcome it because we see that not just in Czechia, but for example, in Finland, it was very easy because usually the Chinese tourists arrived via Helsinki to Europe, that they could pay right away, and there was no problem for looking for an exchange stub or trying to use your Chinese bankers, which are perhaps not that at first moment are willing to accept your will to buy that coffee at the airport. So back to your serious question, the hotels, of course, would like to enlarge the opportunity to welcome more people. We encourage them, and here I would like to highlight again my dear colleague's role, because she explains in details what is the real expectation. That occasionally these are small things, to have a teapot in your room, or you have a hot meal in the breakfast as an offer, or to have some Chinese notes explaining where is the ladies' room. These are not big things, but they are almost always warmly welcomed by the guest.
Yes, and also the VPay and Alipay is very good for the tax-free also. My wife always, she's Chinese, when going to the Andrassy street and she's playing with these tax-free stuffs. And it would be very useful if you could use the VPay and Alipay. But going back, and maybe there are a lot of participants would be interested in they have their son or daughter, and do they have the opportunity and chance to go to China study? And why is it important? Are the Chinese universities are better and better, or is there any developing in the Chinese educational system?
For sure, Chinese educational system are always in the develop. So, and I think more and more Hungarian young students or people realize that how important is China nowadays. Like China became a major great power, a major player in our global economy. So they think that way. If they are really interested and they know Chinese language and Chinese culture, they will have greater job opportunity, maybe in the field of economy or financial or maybe diplomacy. And also it's kind of easy to go to study in China because the Chinese government offers a lot of opportunity and scholarships to have a chance, these students, to go to study in China maybe for 1 month, for 1 semester, 2 semesters, or do BA, MA, or PhD degrees in China. So China is very welcome, all of our Hungarian students. And also the Hungarians are really interested in the Chinese culture and they realize the importance of the Chinese language for sure. And yesterday I was scrolling TikTok, what else? And I saw a really interesting video. A Hungarian young guy make a video with a business lookalike man. He sat in a really luxury car, and the video maker asked him that what is his advice for the younger Hungarians to be success. And firstly, he told that unfortunately you need to be a workaholic, you need to work a lot. But his second advice was, beside English, you need to learn Chinese.
So everybody understand what do they have to do. And we don't have so much time, but this was the people-to-people session about the BRI. And I think it's also a very important pillar of the BRI, because BRI has 5 pillars. But we are not discussing too much. But in the end, shortly answer, what do you think that the people-to-people pillar of the BRI, how can they help the cooperation between the countries in every other field, the economic, the finance, the cooperation, the tourism, the education? And what do you think that Hungary, how should do more efforts on this, please?
Oh, this is a very hard question, very hard question. I believe usually when you talk about tourism, you always say that tourism is connection. Because for what are you remembering? You ordered the great cafe in Rome and you remember the waitress, how kindly he served you. You remember the lady where you bought your new scarf, how elegantly he took the car around you. So without people, without connection, tourism is impossible to think. So on the long term, I believe that tourism is the one which can be one of the leading part of the BRI, because without connection, without trust, without the willingness to get to know the other person, there is no way we can have a bright future. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think people-to-people relations and exchange is really important. Of course, the aspect of the BRI as well. And the cultural diplomacy is really helpful for know countries to each other, to know their cultures, to know a bit more their languages. And I think, for example, CIs provide a lot of opportunities in Hungary to know more about Chinese language and culture, because, for example, in Szeged we have more than 10 partner schools, like high schools, elementary schools, even a kindergarten where students can choose to learn Chinese. So I think this is the good way to improve it.
Thank you very much. And for summarizing, we had a lot of mission. We do have a lot of opportunity to go to China by flights, to Beijing, Shanghai, and other cities. We have to eat the mooncake. We have to look for it. And everybody had to send their children to study Chinese and go to China. Thank you very much for the panel, and thank you for...
Thank you.
Thank you.
With closing the third panel, we have reached the end of today's professional program. I hope you all agree with me, and when I say we had a successful and rewarding day. Our speakers have guided us through the most topical and intriguing questions related to financial integration opportunities through the Belt and Road Initiative and other things. And I believe that the BRI 10 conference has successfully highlighted the importance of the international dialogues and sharing experiences, knowledge, and different point of the views from distant countries. And as closing of today's program, I would like to invite Mr. Barnabás Virág, the Deputy Governor of the Magyar Nemzeti Bank, to deliver some concluding thoughts and major takeaways. So, Deputy Governor, the floor is yours.
Okay, dear distinguished guests, dear colleagues, dear ladies and gentlemen, our conference is coming to an end, and I have the pleasure to say some closing remarks after this fruitful, I think very fruitful event. We have proved from several different perspectives that cooperation is the way out, I think the only way out of the current situation characterized by supply-side contractions and inflation, challenges of energy transition, and a lot of geopolitical turbulences. Among these dramatic changes, the role and the weight of Eurasia has been increasing in the past several years. Due to the rise of China and other emerging Asian economies, in the last decades, the world's economic center of gravity is returning to the heart of Eurasia. Without a doubt, China has become a major global player in the 21st century, and the Belt and Road Initiative, started by China a decade ago, has become a signature development strategy framework seeking to link the nations across the globe in various platforms and offering a new alternative to the multilateral cooperation. Today, at the event celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, each session and panel have pointed out the potential benefits of interconnectivity and cooperation. May it be finance, green development, or people-to-people exchanges. As Governor Matolcsy mentioned, what China achieved is unique. Therefore, we must learn from it. The Belt and Road Initiative's first decade was a huge success, as supported the development of many countries all around the globe. His Excellency, Mr. Gong highlighted that the BRI goes beyond geographical borders, forming close economic, financial, trade, and cultural relationships and supporting green transition. The BRI has given a major impetus to the relations between Hungary and China, and we are eager to see how the new ways of cooperation, such as the new energetic and electromobility agreements, are executed. I think we had 3 excellent panels. Thanks for the panelists for that. We have learned that we have to build a win-win bridge by facilitating financial integration. We need to create new pathways for cooperation by embracing green development. And finally, it's also key to strengthen closer bonds by promoting people-to-people exchanges. To wrap up, I would like to thank again all of our speakers for their thought-provoking and insightful discussions, and thank you all for being here with us today. Let me close today's event with an old Chinese wisdom, which is a perfect takeaway and summary of our discussions. A single thread cannot be a cord, and a single tree does not make a forest. So let's enjoy the lunch and the further conversations during that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Governor, for the excellent summary. And we have reached the end of the conference. Once again, I thank all of our speakers and participants for sharing their great insights, and our audience for staying with us till the end. If you missed any of the speeches of today's conference, I would like to mention that you can visit the Magyar Nemzeti Bank's YouTube channel in the upcoming days, and you can see the whole conference again, or some part of it. It will be available on demand soon on the YouTube channel of the Magyar Nemzeti Bank. In addition, we also would be delighted to welcome you at the MNB's next conference, the Budapest Eurasia Forum 2023, to be held between 23 and 24 November in a hybrid format, so it will be in the Central Bank of Hungary. The conference will discuss the most relevant and ongoing transition we need to follow for sustainability. And we hope that we can welcome you among our guests in person, or please follow the MNB's YouTube channel. So now I would like to cordially invite you to join us at the reception in the Great Hall, and please enjoy your lunch, and I hope we meet again soon in the next conference. So have a nice day and a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Thank you very much.